project off like a hospital, Junie. We have done it in a short period of time. Remember, we did not meet anything. We had to build from scratch. Nothing for geothermal. That is why I said it was disappointing to know that the Unity construct, which involved a Nevis party, did not deliver for the people of Nevis with respect to that. They did not deliver significant upgrades to the health sector. And right now, because of the climate change and so forth, we need a modern hospital that can really meet the needs, the growing needs of our people. Nonetheless, we are investing significantly in healthcare, which I know was reported here by the leadership of the health sector. And I want to thank the leadership who was here yesterday on Freedom, updating the nation as to the significant investments that we have made with respect to health. Also, we have not stopped there. We have gone to the water issue. We have resolved the water issue in Cayon, principally. We have one desalination plant that is actually in use. That's the one at Canada Estate. We'll commission it sometime soon, but it's producing potable water as we speak, powered by solar energy. We are also building out the 2 million gallon desalination plant that is right here at Ponds, the industrial estate. That is in the final stages, so we expect that to come online within the next 2 months or so. That's a 2 million gallon plant. We have already run the pipes all the way up to the hill over there in Bird Rock, and that tank, that storage tank, is what's going to serve. So we intend this year to end water shortages in the Bastia area, Bastia to St. Peter's area. We have not left the rest of the country out. We actually did a study already where we had a drone come in to tell us exactly where the underground water is in the rest of the country. We have already contracted the drilling company to drill for water in the other parts of the country. We want to end this nonsense where people don't have water 24/7. Again, Junie, we meant nothing. What was there was BEAD, and BEAD is what was brought on before 2015 and abandoned, and we had to reignite it. And therefore, that is coming along. The other matter that we met in terms of infrastructure, which we have been investing in, such as the Connery Stadium, the St. Peter's Main Road, but fundamentally, the Bastia High School, that has commenced. They have started the groundwork. Again, 7.5 years, and the failed Unity construct did not deliver on the Bastia High School, even though their big song and dance in 2015 was about the Bastia High School. $21 million and nothing to show fundamentally with respect to the Bastia High School, but we are delivering with respect to the Bastia High School. And so we had to take principal measures to make sure that we can stabilize our situation, even if we are to go through challenges as the CBI had been the hallmark of the economy. But Junie, we have become very innovative too. We have the best. Our passport was just the best in the world in the recent analysis of passports, St. Kitts and Nevis. Our ETA system that we have at the airport, I don't know if you traveled recently. When you come in, you just walk through the airport. That ETA system, we had Guyana came to look at our system, and we have another major country coming to look at it because it is a model, really. It is the technology is superb, and I think that of course, sets St. Kitts and Nevis apart somewhat. So we continue to punch above our weight because, again, our clear vision and because we are determined that St. Kitts and Nevis must continue to thrive, must be able to thrive, even dealing with the scourge of all these what we call crises, the polycrises, post-COVID, supply chain. Now we are dealing with climate change and the issue of the tariffs. Tariffs we did not see would be a problem, but that has become a problem that, one cannot foresee everything, but that has become part of the issue as well. And so that is affecting the whole world, and St. Kitts and Nevis is no different. But I can say with respect to our inflation, and we are significantly working on it, we have one of the lowest rates of inflation. Our rate of inflation is actually projected to be lower than what the U.S. experiences to a great extent because of the number of measures that we would have taken to help with the cost of living. That we don't have. We import a lot of stuff from the United States. So a lot of the tariffs and a lot of the cost of living that is imported. A lot of it is imported because we import so much. And that is why we are seeking to make necessary investments across agriculture, in water and so forth, so that we can cut when it comes to imports and encourage our people to eat as much as possible local and to eat what we grow. Because the more we import is the more inflation that we import here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So in the health sector we have invested. In national security we have invested significantly as well to build a model. In water we have, in energy we have, in agriculture we have, in education we have also done that. We have eliminated fees for students to go to college. We have also made sure that the interest rate for student loans at the Development Bank is the lowest in history. And we reinstated economic costs for law and medical students, because the previous government had stopped it. The interest rates, we figure, should be a bit lower for our students, and college should be free, because without education, no country can develop. And even in the preschool, we doubled the amount that the children used to get when they go to a private preschool. This government did that. Why have we invested so much in our young people? It is because, of course, apart from the young people, they're not just the future, the young people are of now. And therefore, that significant investment in education we expect to continue to benefit us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Junior, we have helped our workers. We have the highest minimum wage in the OECS presently. Not only that, we introduce the GAE, the Government Auxiliary Employees Pension Plan, because for decades they were denied a pension. Again, they were promised the pension under the former administration, and they did not deliver. They were promised increase in minimum wage, and they did not deliver. Junior, if we were to do a calculation and look at how much we increased the minimum wage by, and look at how much extra people would make monthly, if the minimum wage goes up presently by from $360 to $500, that would represent an increase of about $140. You multiply 140 by 4, and you can see you're dealing with over $500 per month added to our workers. That is significant. And so part of the argument is, under the former administration, they had promised they would move the minimum wage, and the minimum wage was not touched. We decided that we must touch it. The only party that really increases minimum wage in St. Kitts and Nevis is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And we need to educate our people in terms of why is it's more important and more beneficial to have an increase in minimum wage so that you can have that same amount of money instead of just having it passively, like being passed to you. Why? It means when you go to a bank, you have a bigger paycheck. It means when you retire, you have more social security. This we have determined. There is nothing more significant than making sure you can pay workers a salary or wage that can have a tremendous positive impact. That is why countries seek to have jobs for their people instead of just having welfare programs, because it has been determined easily already that people who are working and you work to get them the highest wage and salary that is possible within the economy is the best way to move people from one level to the next level. In terms of 1, your strength before a bank, 2, more spending power, 3, more social security when you retire, and 4, nobody can just take it away from you. Today somebody come up with a policy and say, you get this or you get that. But they just kind of take your wage away from you. So it gives you that sense of freedom, independence, and dignity. This is what the labor movement is really about. And that is why we put the pension plan in place. Because you had people, Junie, they probably cleaning the streets, years upon years, you know, a few of them can't get nothing. You go up the cemetery, you see the guys up there, they are they prepare the graves, they work for the government, but they couldn't carry home a pension. You know a few of them. And you ask yourself, why is it these people can't carry home a pension? Because this is the job that they do. We have eliminated that. and say once you are working, any type of honest work is dignified work. And they should be treated with dignity. And that is why we decided that those who dig the graves at the cemetery, they too, who work hard for the government, must have a pension. Those who clean the streets, they too must have a pension. Those who are the crossing guards. So we really seek to help those who are most disadvantaged by giving them a higher wage, by giving them a pension plan, and all of the other opportunities that I have spoken about, making sure the children have got to university. Let me tell you, Juni, what happened when you had no economic costs paid for law and medicine at University of the West Indies. It means that if you have a child who wanted to go to the University of the West Indies to do law, but their parents just can't afford it, they will never be able to pursue law because the economic cost was prohibitive. By removing the economic costs, we made sure that if you have a child who come from Connery and decide they wanted to be a lawyer, that the parent, even if they don't have the financial resources, that child will have a great opportunity to become a lawyer. So once again, people who came from households that were not well blessed with a lot of financial resources were being shut out of these professions. And that is why we decided that we will work to have access so that they can have access to education. All of these things we have worked on. The other matter that we have worked on is the housing, which is now really rolling out. We built a lot of houses, and I told the Minister of Housing, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, that he probably need to adopt the strategy like the last administration. Each time he gives a house, he should do a big song and dance about it. Because here, in the time that we are in government, we have built more houses than the former administration did in the same allotted time. Yet people are of the impression that they built much more houses by this time in their administration. And it is because, I think, we are not making a big song and dance for every single house that we deliver to our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But we have delivered with respect to that. And now we are in the process, of course, of delivering much more. We are in St. Peter's, we are in Lodge, now we're in constituency number 4, number 5, number 6, all of the constituencies, 3, 2, 1, all of them would be included, of course, in this massive housing program. So that, of course, continues to be significantly. Junior, as I wrap up, but I bring it closer home to my own constituency, I want to say that the people of St. Peter's were denied 2 critical things. 1, a proper health center to go into, and 2, proper road networks. And we have resolved, or we are at the point of resolving both matters. The health center that was in St. Peter's, the one that was being built and abandoned, that is caught up in a lot of legal issues. While we work through those legal issues, what we have done is to make sure that the health center that was there, we have totally refurbished that to the point where we have put air conditioning in that health center. So I invite people to go and take a look at the health center. It is well refurbished, well painted, and fit for purpose. And the road network, we have invested about $30 million to make sure that St. Peter's Main Road is considered a part of the Island Main Road, because one of the reasons why they refuse to do the St. Peter's Main Road, apart from the political victimization, because they think St. Peter's is mainly labor, the same thing that St. Paul suffered under previous administration, St. Peter's suffered. And one of my main commitments when I ran was that I would do the St. Peter's Main Road. Junior, I don't know if you have visited, but I invite you to visit the St. Peter's area, and you'll see how beautiful that network of roads are presently, and you've been there. It modernized the area. It is really a great state, I will tell you that. St. Peter's still has some issues with water, and we are resolving the water issue. Presently, we are doing the desalination plant, and we are running pipes from Bastia into St. Peter's so that the St. Peter's area, which is the largest growing area in St. Kitts and Nevis, can have that added source of water so that we can once and for all resolve the water problem in St. Peter's. So St. Peter's would have modern road network, a modern health center, as we have done, water services that we want to get back to 24/7, housing that we are developing, development of sports facilities and so forth, and to make St. Peter's, as any other area in St. Kitts and Nevis, a area that is advancing and developing. And so, in a great sense, we have delivered a significant amount in this short period of time. The other thing that we are doing is that we are modernizing our IT system. Right now, we are collaborating with the Republic of China, Taiwan, in delivering a national ID. We have what is called a national ID, which people use for voting, but I'm talking about an advanced national ID. For example, with that, you can do all your business from home. You'll be able to apply for a passport, a birth certificate, whatever you have to apply for. In other words, we want to eliminate lines and to eliminate paper. St. Kitts and Nevis is on track to deliver that by mid-2026. We instead to do the first launch by the January 2026. I met with the Taiwanese a few weeks ago, and we are on track to deliver in those time periods. So I want to say that the project is on track, and I want to thank the Republic of China, Taiwan, for their significant work that they have been doing with us. Because if you look at our Sustainable Island State agenda, clearly states that IT is what's going to link everything together. And so we are creating that to become a very advanced country when it comes to IT. And we are on track to be one of the first countries in the Caribbean, if not the first, to almost fully transform. And so we are on track to achieve that. So energy, water, food, education, medicine or healthcare, IT services, we are reforming the structure of the economy. And I also want to add that we are training our people with respect to these things. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we launched the electric vehicle training that was launched right here in St. Kitts and Nevis at our college. And so we are encouraging our people to get that type of training, our mechanics or the aspiring mechanics, because we see where the world is going with electric vehicles. The other thing that we are doing presently is that we have launched as well solar panel training, all of the technical work to do with solar panels, because we are in the process of building a solar plant, and therefore we want our people to be equipped. Electric vehicles, because we intend to bring a policy for electric vehicles, so we intend more electric vehicles to come into St. Kitts and Nevis. And secondly, with renewable energy and the solar plant, we want our people to be trained to take these jobs. So these are jobs for the future, and so we are asking our people to take them. One of the major developments that we had recently, I went to Germany in 2020, even before I was elected. The reason why I went to Germany is that as a science student in school, a lot of the great scientists that I learned about were from Germany. And I wanted to know, what is it that Germany had that made it so technologically advanced? So what I did, I went there to do my own fact-finding and recognize that Germany had or has a very developed scientific method. It is advanced, very sophisticated. And the Germans are willing to teach. And so even though I was not elected, I went to seek opportunities for our young people. And I said, once I get elected and have the opportunity to now advance these things, I would. And I want to declare today, and I have put it out there already, that 2 young men are on their way to Germany to study. I think they leave about July, August. And we are seeking, of course, to get other young people. They have to learn German. These guys learn German. They can speak German. We set up classes for them through our special envoy, Mrs. Amma Martin, Her Excellency, who is doing an excellent job for us there in Germany. Yes, your niece-in-law. Yes, she's doing an excellent job. Nobody would have thought that we could have gotten scholarships from Germany.
You know German?
I don't know German. But I know our young people can learn it, yes. Right? And with that course, they're actually being paid. They're actually being paid. So while they study, they're being paid in Germany. So it's an excellent opportunity. And so we want to encourage other young people to take up the opportunities. One thing I've said to them is that when you start to, this knowledge that you will gain in Germany, we hope we want you to bring it back to St. Kitts and Nevis. They're going to be in very high demand in Europe and Germany after they would have completed their studies. But I'm saying to them, remember that we want you here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so I'm very, very pleased with that. On the African connection, I want to say to you, Junie, that I have made significant, I have made it significant, that connection. Why? I think we need to diversify. Eventually, we are the sixth region of the African Union. We are African people. We know why we are in the Caribbean. You grew up listening reggae music. You grew up reading Marcus Garvey, who was here as well. I think he's in the 1930s. And he always asks us to reconnect with Africa.
Yeah.
And that is why, and when you look and study his teachings and understandings, they were not just emotional, even though that part is very important, to be reconnected to your place of origin. It's very important for the human spirit and your soul. But beyond that, the economic opportunities, the trading opportunities, if the Europeans then found value in trading us for their benefit, why is it we can't trade among ourselves for our benefit? And so, as you know, we have traveled to Africa a couple of times, and we also had the opportunity to do a summit in Africa, in Nigeria. We had the return visit here when Earpiece landed here. Earpiece, that plane was one of the largest planes ever landed in St. Kitts and Nevis in its history. And we got that from Africa to St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis is the smallest among the independent countries in the region. But we were the one that got Earpiece here from Nigeria. Also a connection with the Afreximbank and investments in the Caribbean. Seeking to develop trade routes. That same trade route that was to our detriment must now be used for our upliftment. And so we have made tremendous amount of progress with respect to our reconnection with Africa. Just to tell you, we are now looking into opening up an embassy in Ghana, and I intend to visit Ghana next year. And again, Her Excellency Amma Martin is working on that end. We, as the CARICOM, will be going to Addis Ababa, the only city in Africa that was not conquered ever, where the African Union will meet with the sixth region, and the sixth region is CARICOM, where we will go and you'll have a meeting between the motherland and the diaspora. That journey, I envisage, will be a powerful, powerful moment as we reconnect. And I'm determined that what must be done should be done to ensure that reconnection. We have gone as far, we are very advanced, as the Open University of Tanzania has given us scholarships for our teachers here in St. Kitts and Nevis. The University of Kenya, through the TVET program, we have now signed the MOU with them. Africa has a lot to offer. It has a significant middle class, and it's advancing. As a matter of fact,
would tourism be one of the factors that would come into play here?
Big time. And that is why we are seeking to establish trade and establish connections so that tourism. Can you imagine looking at Africa with over 1 billion people, and there's an easy way for them to get to the Caribbean? They don't have to go to Europe or North America. They can just come directly across the Atlantic to the Caribbean. Just think about it. Even if you get 2% of 1-point-something billion people, just think about that number. We're talking about millions of people who we have not tapped into. And that is why we are seeking to get flights between Africa directly across the Atlantic from the Caribbean to Africa, Africa to the Caribbean. From here to Nigeria is the same as the flight from here to England. Because I took the flight across the Atlantic. And that is very possible and very feasible, and that is what we are working on presently. We have to open up new opportunities. As you say, I went to Saudi Arabia, and I want to thank His Excellency the Crown Prince, His Highness, and Saudi Arabian Saudi Development Fund for their investment in St. Kitts and Nevis. They have invested, or they have made available financial resources at one of the best rates in the world and the best conditions in the world for us to develop our power plant. Because, you know, for over 30-something years, we had not had any major new investments. And that is going through. We'll get the modern generators that can use renewable energy and can also use diesel. And we're going to get about 18 megawatts of that, which is more than half of what the energy generation that we need. And I want to thank the Saudis. Saudis went further and having also made available resources for our geothermal development. So as you can see, we have the other developmental partners. Taiwan, we can never forget Taiwan. Now we are looking to the Middle East. Now we are looking to Africa. So we have to diversify, and that is what we have been working on. That is what I have been working on. So when you see me go to Africa, that is what I go for. When I go to the Middle East, that is what I go for. When I go to the Far East, that is what. And we are in the process now of seeking to open an embassy in Singapore. We'll be the first Caribbean country to open an embassy in Singapore. And we want to connect Singapore with India, with Nepal, and that part of the world. So we want to go to Asia. We want to go to the East, the Middle East, Africa. And of course, we have our traditional relationships with North America, USA, Canada, and with Europe as well, which we work hard to maintain. These are excellent relationships that we must maintain. We don't want to lose, we want to add. And now we are heading to the Southern America, Brazil, and Guyana, which is now becoming, they have found oil and now have opportunities where we can collaborate and so forth. And so we are looking around the world and making that connection. As we say in St. Kitts and Nevis, our foreign policy, we are enemies of none, friends of all, enemies of none. We seek peace and we seek partnership for mutual benefit. We are proponents really of a peaceful, cooperative world. So, Juni, that is where we are from, and that is how we are seeking to build St. Kitts and Nevis, moving it so that it can become a sustainable island state and a more modern country where people are at the center. And we must never, ever leave behind our ordinary people. Right. Pension plan, wage plan, new job opportunities. And the other one I wanted to top off before I turn it over to you is the Aspire program. You know, the United States has something similar to the Aspire program. I think they call it, it's named after the President of the United States presently. The Aspire program is where every child between 5 and 18 gets an account of $1,000, $500 for savings, $500 for shares. And this September, we are going to start the financial education in schools. This is a groundbreaking, revolutionary program for our people. It's a program that is not found anywhere else in this part of the world. The United States just did a part of it, and I commend them tremendously for that as well. So we just don't want to give children toys. We also want to give them accounts and shares. That is what labor is about. Labor is about transforming lives. That is what we are about. True transformation comes through empowerment. That is why labor started Social Security. That is why labor acquired the land. That is why labor did comprehensive secondary education. That is why labor did comprehensive, universal health care even back then. All those things were done during the statehood period principally, led by the first national hero. And statehood, we have to put it to rest. I don't think people understand the tremendous work that was put in by His Excellency, the first national hero, and the labor team then in establishing education, healthcare, social security, regaining our land, and set the path for independence. That is what Labour did then. So we are just carrying on the tradition, more education, more healthcare, more economic empowerment, more democracy, human rights, opportunities, and so forth. And so we are modernizing in this time a lot of those policies, which by principle still are the best to have. We are just adapting them to our present situation. And so, Junie, I want to say that all of this is what Labour has delivered. Labour is the only party that raises minimum wage, the only party that does pension like this, the only party that has really freed up education in this country, the only party that is proponent for universal health care, the party that really wants to see all of St. Kitts and Nevis, all our people be given the opportunity, and the party that truly represents the ordinary man and woman and all others here in our beloved land. Thank you, Junie, for those opening statements.
Thank you so very much, Mr. PM. You've given a very comprehensive outline and analysis of what your government has been doing since it took power 2 years ago. You mentioned energy, you mentioned the solar system, you mentioned geothermal, water development, water improvements, agricultural expansion, health care. It is indeed a long list of things that you've just outlined. However, if you look at social media platforms of the opposition and so on, you think that you guys are just flying out to benefit yourselves and not the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, because this is what is relayed. It's the taxpayers' money is being spent frivolously and those kind of things. I want to ask you a question. One thing that you probably didn't mention was the Kim Collins track and field, which is reopened. Could you just comment on that briefly?
Yeah, thank you, Junie. As you said, I didn't mention it. There's so many things to mention. I'll be here all afternoon. Yes, but with respect to the Kim Collins, we just recently repurposed it, we refurbished it and so forth. And I want to thank the Minister with Responsibility for Sport, the Honorable Samuel Duggins, who has done a tremendous job. As you know, he came under tremendous criticism. But he was determined that the track that would be there would be a world-class track. He was determined that this, when you open this or you repurpose it, that it would be something that people would be proud of. And we had at the stadium when we did it just a few days ago on Saturday, where we had an invitation, exam revenge invitational for primary schools. So they were just invited to come so that we would not just go up and cut a ribbon, but we would have something significant happening there so people can see the track is really ready for action. Right. And I want to thank all of the children that came out. They competed well. It was excited. I was there. The ministers were there. The public was there as well. Students were there. As we know, school is probably out or almost out.
It's out.
It's out. And still we were able to get children to come. So we understood that children were away, school's out, so they're not as organized as they should be. But we wanted the children to come and enjoy the new track. And so, right. Junie, I want to say that was a tremendous feat. All the criticism, and we keep saying, give the administration a chance to deliver. You had 7.5 years and you did nothing. If you had 7.5 years and you did nothing, and it's not even 3 years yet for us, what moral grounds do you have to criticize that is not delivered as yet? And so that is why when we deliver it, that really put the opposition to shame, because we delivered in less time than they had.
So the government is involved in sports development, which is centered around and focused around young people development.
Yes.
And you've been doing that in basketball, all sports across the spectrum.
Yes.
And you've been quite busy. Now, what projects, you mentioned infrastructure development, Bastia High School, JNF, what projects are likely to see people, are likely to be done within the next 6 months, whether finished or start up within the next 6 months?
Right.
What projects, particularly in construction?
One, the St. Peter's Main Road, which I told you was a $30 million investment. That is going to be completed, I can tell you, within the next 6 months. The desalination plant, which is another about $40 million investment, will also be completed within the next 6 months. It's on track. When it comes to the Basti High School, that has started. The earthworks and everything that has.
Just remind people, where is that going to be located?
Right
where
where
it is now?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason for that is scientifically there was nothing wrong with the soil. Nonetheless, we removed what we had to remove, but it is totally safe to be there. So that has basically started. Again, I see people going up there to criticize the Basti High School. They had 7.5 years, did nothing. Less than 3 years, labor is delivering. You remember when it was cleared for music festival? They say, "Oh, you're just parking up there." You know, they were saying all around on the internet, parking, nothing on start up there. When the earth start to move, I can't hear them, Junie. Again, because we are serious about this thing. There are challenges, we admit. Nothing is perfect, but we are serious when we say we'll deliver for the people.
Have you targeted a date of completion for the Basti High School?
The targeted date is in 2027. Yeah, it will be about 2 years. Yes, that's the targeted date. Then the hospital, that too is on its way, because you have to do a lot of studies and this and that, because you're dealing with human waste and stuff like that. So that needs a lot of studies, which we are now completing. But the construction of the hospital will also start this year. We are on track. So these major projects, the Ritz-Carlton, the last time I would have gotten communication, that too is on track, which is to be built, and South Friars, that is on track. Even over where we have our new yachting sector that we are developing with Safe Harbor as well, that is on track as well to start this year. With respect to our major agricultural project, that is on track to start this year to buttress the other agricultural activities that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis. That is also on track. So these ones, as I spoke about, they are all on track. And if something happens, I will update the people. And the other one I wanted to mention was the MRI. The MRI building is basically completed. Because of where it's located, we have been advised by the engineers that we should do another retaining wall. And that is what has held back. But as far as the building is concerned, the MRI experts who are delivering the machine, they came in, and they said in their report that this will be one of the best facilities in the Caribbean for housing and MRI.
You mentioned housing.
Yes.
That has been a sticking point for the government, because you promised to deliver certain homes, a number of homes, by a specific time.
Yes.
What has happened to that process?
Well, that has been going on. Junie, believe it or not, we have delivered about 200 houses already. Okay. That is why I said to the Minister of Housing, and he should be listening, you're working hard, Minister. Every time you deliver the home, take some pictures. Otherwise, people are not going to see what you are doing.
Correct.
So I think the Minister will correct that. He has delivered those number of houses, plus the units that he's delivering over there in East Street and West Street and so forth. And today I can say that we have started a cluster of homes we have started to move in all the constituencies within the next 4 months, because we have started. All the constituencies will have cluster homes being built in all of them. That process has started. And I'm serious. I'm going to really
completed by the next election, PM?
Well, the houses that we are building, we're going to build out houses accordingly. Right. Yes. They've started, and the houses take about maybe 16 weeks, 4 months or so to get done. So you're going to just see houses being built, because now the pipeline is there. We'll just be building and building and building and building houses, because we have to deliver houses for our people. So I'm very proud of that. So people ask, where have we invested? We have invested in these basic things, Junie. Basic as water. That has cost us about $50 million. So that is where we are challenged, because, how can the country not have water? A government that cannot deliver water for its people is a useless government.
But PM, water is still being rationed right now.
Yes, because we have not totally resolved the matter, but it is being resolved. Look at Keon. I mean, somebody told, I had a podcast that is going to air, and they said to me, how nice it is to get up 3 o'clock in the morning and water running. They ain't had that for decades. So I'm saying, and then when we get the desalination plant, which is going to be completed this year, we intend to. So over the next 1.5 to 2 years, you're going to see that we are going to transform water delivery here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we're going to transform energy as well, because people must have 3 basic things to be a modern country. They're still very basic. Water, right? energy, and food. That's the nexus: water, energy, food. Those three things really give you a solid platform to build a modern country. That is why you see on the Nile banks you had civilizations, because they had water. And once they had water, they had fertile soil. And once they have water, soil, they had food. And once they have food, that gives them the opportunity to have their population fed properly, and so they can build the civilization out.
PM, let's just switch gears a bit here. Kittians have been, and divisions have been breathing a sigh of relief with the crime situation on the island, which used to spiral out of control. What do you attribute the lowering of the crime in St. Kitts and Nevis, especially gun-related crime? What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to the all-of-society approach. And at this time, I want to thank everyone for being a part. Mm-hmm. This could not have been done by no one person or any one entity. Of course, it needed the leadership.
I see you had a delegation here from
Anguilla.
Anguilla.
Yes.
Come to study what you're doing.
Yes, they came to study our model.
Yes.
But our model, as I say, is all hands on deck. Truly all hands on deck. And so I want, even when I called the opposition and the opposition parties to Kuna building, mm-hmm. they came. The first one, the leader of PLP did not come and said he did not receive the email. We know that that was not true. Mm. But the second one, we made sure, and I called him out, and I was happy that he showed up, because I really believe, and the science has shown, that to deal with the issue of crime and violence, all hands must be on deck. And so I want to thank the opposition for showing up as well. I want to thank the public for showing up as well, because together is the only way that we can do it. And we implemented dealing with crime and violence from a public health perspective, which is a different way of dealing with it. We have all the aspects of it. It has law enforcement, it has social services, psychological, all of these other areas, and the spiritual, which can never be neglected. So I think that model that was implemented, I think that model has shown to have some positive impact. But I will say today that you have to get your whole of population on board, including the opposition. So when the Anguillians came, it was the governor, the premier, and the leader of the opposition in Anguilla, and the rest of their delegation. That's the start. They started on the right foot, that all of them will come together and say Anguilla should be safe for all Anguillians, whether you're government, opposition, or you're none of them. You should be able to live in a safe space. So we'll continue to do what we have to do. But again, I say to the public, it cannot be done without you. And I'm not going to pretend that. I don't have a magic wand. What I have is a methodology and science, understanding that all of us must play our part. So I want to encourage the opposition to continue to play its part as well.
No.
From the national security standpoint, I want to say
go ahead, finish.
The chief of police and the police force, the commander, acting Commander Sutton, and his troops. I want to thank everyone else. But they have, of course, because of what they lead, they will be at the center of all of it. I want to thank the judiciary, all the systems and departments. I can't say thanks enough. And we must continue to work together as a people and as a country. Anyone who says that they have a solution that excludes anybody is not telling the truth. It's a farce. They are trying to work a first one for votes. It can only be done effectively when all. Broadcasters have a role too. Imagine if you're on your broadcast and you're telling people, man, put down the gun, live positively. Let us come together as a country. That's a powerful voice you can add to the whole thing of citizen security. Wherever you are in this country, you can spread a positive word. You can have a positive impact, no matter how small it is. I'm asking all of us to join with the agenda of the citizen security so all of us can have a safer St. Kitts and Nevis.
It's 24 minutes before 2 o'clock. You can open the lines for a bit, Mr. P.
Yeah, we can take some
But
calls.
before we do that,
Sure.
I have one last agenda item.
Yeah.
This has to do with a recent poll, the Don Anderson poll, which we heard mentioned several times during a recent convention put on by the PLP. They say they're going to win the next election. They say you're a poll leader. They said, what are your comments on this Don Anderson poll?
Junie, let me just say about that. In the last election, in June of 2022, I think it was, they had a big song and dance about the Don Anderson poll.
Yes.
That PLP is the fastest growing and PLP expected to win so much more seats and all of this. And I began to get a lot of calls, Junie. Comrade leader, because of course I wasn't the prime minister, I was the leader. What is happening here? This poll is saying this and this poll is saying that. I say, who is speaking about the poll? The opposition poll? The poll that they paid for? Well, if it's the opposition poll and a poll that they paid for, what do you expect the poll that they paid for would say? They pay for what they want. I told them we are confident that the election results will show totally differently. Where their poll said they would gain seats, they lost seats. And the leader of PLP lost, won by the smallest margin, I think, in his history in 2022, in his history. And he came with a big song and dance in June of 2022 about Don Anderson poll.
So this is a replica of 2022
It's a replica. It is part of their political machination and part of their misinformation campaign to fool people into thinking that they are better than they are so that they can somehow generate some sort of interest in that. So it's a political strategy, and we saw it before. So I'm just speaking about the poll in itself. So when I saw it at Laugh, you notice something in the poll. He totally marginalized PAM. No mention of PAM, because the objective of PLP has been nobody can destroy the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. It is the strongest institution, and it's not going to go anywhere. So the other two parties are fighting to see who will be the largest second party in St. Kitts and Nevis. PAM had that for a very long time. PLP is now seeking to displace PAM. So that is why in the poll that they paid for, no mention was made of PAM or its leader. That plan was to minimize her and to minimize PAM so that you can have PAM people shifting to PLP. Interestingly enough, I saw some PAM people at the PLP mini convention, as the leader of PAM called it. She said it was a mini convention. It means, therefore, that PLP continues to undermine PAM. And I said that during the time when Sean Richards was there. I said, Sean, your biggest problem is not Labour. Labour going to always be here. So you have to deal with Labour. But PLP is undermining you. And he found out late. By the time Timothy would have used some disgusting words to describe him, words I would not even mention. And then when I heard the new leader of PAM saying that she is willing, back then of course, to consider coalition with the same man who is killing your party, go and look at the campaign, at the poll numbers. They have been sucking PAM. PAM is an establishment that has been there for a long time. How they can allow a new Johnny-come-lately party to displace them is because PAM is not showing the leadership. They capitulated. PAM had 4 seats, Junie. 4 seats. Harris had 1. Hello, a man for 1 seat could convince you that he should be the leader. When you go up for the election, you run 2 seats. I run my seat. You say you're going to deliver 2 seats. And if you deliver those 2 seats, I will give you this. Then after the election, you only deliver 1. Well, how can you expect to get what we discussed when you did not deliver what you said you would deliver? So Sean Richards had the grounds to say you can't be prime minister because you did not deliver the 2 seats. And PAM is delivering 4 seats. The largest in the coalition. And all I'm going to be is the deputy prime minister and you with 1 seat. But that is why he used those words to describe Sean, which are unfortunate, which I will never use to describe not even none of my political opponent, not even the leader of PLP, who betrayed Labour and betrayed PAM and betrayed CCM and betrayed this country. Not even him I would use those words to describe, that he used to describe a man who stood up for him. So he exposed who his character is. So when I heard her say that, I was shocked. I was taken aback. I would say, so PAM is just going to die? And the evidence is there that PAM objective is to kill PAM? Why do you think the they ran 8 candidates in the last election, PLP. It's because they totally want to displace PAM. That is why they said we can go it alone, because they thought they had garnered enough strength, because they had 2 seats now instead of 1. And they thought they had garnered enough strength to dump PAM and call an election and win election. But they forget the big man in the room, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, that is just continuing to work for the people and ain't getting caught up in that ray, but focus on delivering for this country and the people. They forget that. So they thought it was a race among themselves. I don't know how they could think that when this party has been the strongest political party for near 100 years, the oldest political party in the English-speaking Caribbean. I mean, that shows us a great deal of arrogance. But I think the objective is really to kill PAM first. And after they kill PAM, they would then become the second largest political party. And then they think now they would be in a position to go after the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. So PAM, so that is why the statements that were made by Dr. Simmons were from a deep political analysis. He understands that PAM and PLP cannot exist together, because at any given point, political parties fight for themselves. And what PLP is actually doing is killing PAM so that they can become the second largest political party. If PAM does not wake up, I can tell you, Junie, by the time the next election comes around, which is, that election is years away, by the way. By the time the next election comes, years away it is.
Years away?
Years away.
The leader said it was in August.
Well, I guess he lives in his own world.
He's having his own election?
He has his own election, I think. His own election he's having. PAM would be a dead entity. I said it then when Sean was the leader, and I'm saying it now, and I was right. I knew he would have done that to Sean. And he's doing worse for Shani, because he's now telling people that she's a rookie and, you know, she ain't know what she's doing. That is what he's saying in private about Shani. And he's undermining her. Just go to the constituencies and you will see. He has undermined PAM significantly in St. Peter's. I can tell you. He has undermined PAM significantly in any strong PAM area. In Sandy Point, go and look and see how much votes PLP got. Those were PAM votes, not Labour votes. So his goal is to destroy PAM so that he becomes the second strongest party. And then he would then think he has enough power now to go up against the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. It is politics. But they have to decide how they would play their politics. PAM is half dead because they capitulated to Harris. They will be totally dead if they capitulate to him again.
All right. It's 2:45. That's all the time we have left, 15 minutes. The phones are well lit. So,
I think because of you, Judy.
Because of me?
Yeah.
No, it's because of you. You're the man. So let's take some calls. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Liebert.
Yes, go ahead, please, with your question or comment. Make it brief, because we don't have a lot of time.
Yes, we want to make it brief. Dr. Joe, I just want to encourage you.
Yes.
From a standpoint of how the world situation is really a reality.
Yeah.
I know you took office in difficult times, a time when the most richest country are cutting back from giving the poor country aid simply because they say they want to invest in the defense spending. The World Health Organization have suffered because of that.
Yes.
The World Food Program have suffered because of these countries' action.
Yes.
Investing in weapons instead of continuing to assist the less developed countries. And I know that you have a challenge. Yeah. And I am praying for you.
Thanks.
I am not one who's going to bring you down at this time. Mm-hmm. You must be given an opportunity, because I am hearing about momentum, but I once supported a team that had the momentum going. But for some reason, I was disappointed. But Dr. Joe, I want to say to you, you took up leadership in difficult time when the Russian war and Ukraine being affecting the world economy. And I am saying, when I listen this morning, they're telling you, the economists, that the cost of living throughout the world have risen tremendously, not only in St. Kitts. And we must be honest and we must be truthful. We have a challenge here in the Caribbean, and we must look at the world situation. No wonder the young people want weapons, because when these countries turn their back on an organization like the World Food Program, the World Health Program, and now buying weapons, I believe they are preparing for Armageddon. So God bless the Dr. Jung, and may you continue to concentrate and serving the people. I love the program that you have here for children, helping those less fortunate children who parents could not really raise funds in time of sickness. And I like the program of water, being K-On, and up in Boardwalk. You're doing some good things. And I'm not one who's going to pull you down. I am giving you a fair chance in difficult times. And may God continue to bless you and bless this federation, our St. Kitts Navy. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's move on and take some more calls. In the interest of time, you can respond at the end.
Yes.
Let's take some more calls. Caller, good afternoon. You're next.
Yeah, good afternoon, Juni.
Good afternoon.
I hear Prime Minister talk about minimum wage, right? Labour, he say, do all these things. You know, nobody ever do nothing else yet, but Labour. The who fix it here? Where are we making all the money from? And it gone up to $500, right? Minimum wage, right? But you know, I say how much nearly gang tax. You understand everything about the salary and the money gone up and the food gone up. So you couldn't get out, because you still come to $400 for us. You understand? So you can't go on this kind of thing. As the man just said, the whole world a problem. So no go on like you don't have no problem, no? Because all going up and down and to me that's a job, right? Because all about the Africa thing, they never work, no? They're never going to work. 5 years go come and all you talk about, not going to work. All right, all the best for you, bro.
Junie, let me respond to that one.
Go ahead.
I can clearly say from the caller, I would say that the caller rightly said, the first caller, about the challenges. I've spoken about those challenges. I told the country because of the CBI, we will have challenges. He spoke about the peer. I want him to know that that peer started under the previous Labour administration. I just wanted to say that. And so, in a sense, that's a project that they inherited. And so we wanted, of course, some more expansion, but it is there. So I wanted to give the caller, the second caller, that fact. He spoke about the minimum wage. The minimum wage cannot be marginalized to anything. We passed a law in the parliament last week to adjust the social levy so that the social levy is not taken out. When you add up how much more since the 360 that people will be getting, it will be about $500 per month extra because of work. Not because somebody just give you, but because you deserve it, because you work. A decade passed, Juni. The last time the minimum wage had gone up, before we did it since we came in, was in 2013. 7 years of the Unity administration, and not $1 they add on to the minimum wage. The caller also speaks about joyriding. Again, let me say clearly, a lot of my trips are actually paid for. I would say that, sponsored. But I'm not speaking about that. Look at the benefits that we have derived as a result. Here, the opposition is trying to bash the Africa connection. That has always been a strategy of those who don't care about us in the Caribbean or Africa, seeking to always divide us and separate us. Nobody thought that one of the largest jets that would land in St. Kitts and Nevis will come directly from Africa straight in the Caribbean with no touching of Europe, North America, or any place else. Africa, directly to the Caribbean, specifically St. Kitts and Nevis. That has already borne fruits, Junie. A friction bank in the Caribbean making billions of dollars of investments. And the president was here, and I'm going to an event very soon with the African Bank. That has already borne fruit, Junie. We had a trade summit in Nigeria. That has already borne fruit. And Junie, I can tell you, I would make an announcement in a few weeks because I think there are those who have recognized the tremendous work that my team and I are doing with respect to establish that connection between Africa and the Caribbean. That connection has already borne fruits, and we expect it to continue to grow and expand. And for centuries, Junie, they have tried to separate us, but we will not be separated anymore because eventually we have to reconnect. And not just only us, other countries are trying to get into Africa. China is trying to get into Africa. The US is trying to get deeper into Africa.
China is there already.
China is there already. Russia is trying to establish itself in Africa. Mm-hmm. We are Africans by our genes and blood,
DNA.
Culture, DNA.
Yes.
So why is it we are not trying to get back to Africa? Because if they see it as a benefit for them, economically and trade-wise, even if for nothing else, we must also see the benefits economically and trade-wise. And we are already seeing the benefits. We already have scholarships from the Open University of Tanzania. Mm. We are already connected with the University of Kenya. I think this is our connections with these universities directly getting scholarship. Might be the first in the Caribbean, might be, because I haven't heard anybody else spoken about that. That is how serious we are in reconnecting us with Africa. So to the caller who called in, and I'm happy that people are recognizing that it's not only in St. Kitts and Nevis where we have inflation. It doesn't matter, Junie, because I see the opposition trying to run with it and trying to fool the people. It doesn't matter. The inflation we have in the Caribbean is an imported inflation. It doesn't matter the administration. You will see inflation as a result of that. Right. And people say you get the minimum wage and you have an increase in prices. Well, that is to be seen. But you cannot deny people what is due to them. A whole decade without an increase in the minimum wage was a slap in the face of the workers of this country by the failed unity construct. Labor is about wage and wage increase. Labor is about pension plans. Labor is about security for our people. And as the first caller said, the Aspire program, the Children's Medical Fund, that is a groundbreaking. I did not even talk about that. Any child who necessarily has to go overseas for life-saving intervention, all they need is a medical form and to show up at my office. That's all that is needed. Why did I put it in my office? Because I'm a medical doctor. 24 hours is a lot in a child's life. You delay the children by 24 hours, the chances of them dying increases exponentially. Just bring the form to me. Don't go through all this bureaucracy. 2 pieces. One, the policy is just bring the child. The policy is 2 lines. I done with these long policy that people can't even read. 2-line policy. The child has a medical form that says it needs life-saving surgery overseas. Doctor sign and stamp. That's the only thing I need. And then the guardian parents come in to say, okay, this is my child, so and so. Okay, the next step, where are we going to send this child to get this care? And so I want to thank the caller for pointing out that because I did not mention it. But even the last caller who called in, who challenged, I want to thank him also for his question because he allowed me the opportunity to be able to expound on a number of other things.
All right, we have 4 minutes before 3 o'clock. We don't have a lot of time. The lines are going off. So let's take some more calls for Dr. Jewel, our Prime Minister. Good afternoon. Okay, we missed that caller. Let's try line 1. Caller, good afternoon. You're next.
Yes, greetings, Brother Johnny.
Greetings, man.
Rascolonji, and greetings to the Prime Minister.
Greetings, Rascolonji.
Yes, my brother.
Bless up.
I haven't seen you in a long time, you know. We got a reason, but...
Yeah, we have a reason. I was in, before you go on, I was in a reparations discussion this weekend. Well, last weekend when I was in Jamaica, And one of the things I told them, I remember when Ras Kolonji organized the reparations meeting at the University Center, and only 3 of us or 4 of us showed up, literally. 3 or 4.
True.
You remember that?
A little more than that,
It wasn't much, Brother Kolonji. And you had a poster that said reparations now. I can't remember exactly what it said. But I said then that we have come from a point where it was a fringe issue, and now it has become a major agenda of the CARICOM. Definitely. That is the right direction in which to go. But I just wanted to relate the history and so forth. Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what I want to say, my brethren, is that since COVID came on us, because COVID was deliberately put on us to mash up our economies.
Yeah.
I've been telling people that the reason why the economy is so sluggish is because of COVID. This thing started in COVID. Mm-hmm. But they ain't studying that. They're saying, well, look the takeaways. Mm-hmm. Right? So what I'm saying to you, my brother, the world has changed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, and it don't, in my analysis, it don't make no sense we blaming each other, because what happened is that you're blaming Timothy and Timothy was blaming Dougie. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying to you, our position as the African Consciousness Movement, we need to resolve our contradictions among ourselves. Repent for our sins, because we have committed political sins, all right, and atoned for our sins. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying to you, we need to sit down, everybody in the country, trash out with political differences, and come up with a program to move forward, because the world is not the way it used to be. Mm-hmm. Because hear what I'm saying to you. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Prince. Mm-hmm. Eric Prince is saying, and other so-called Europeans are saying, that they want to put us back on the plantation. That is the aim. So I'm saying to you, my brother, instead of we here calling the kettle black, we need to sit down, cash out our differences, because I have a program, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa for us to move forward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because this back and forth ain't going to get us nowhere. Oh, I did this, they did that. Ain't going to get us nowhere. Babylon want to put us back on the plantation. So, okay, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. How am I going to oppose myself, or you oppose yourself, when you have somebody opposing you? It don't make any sense. So I'm calling upon you, my brother. Let us settle this political divide that we have. You understand? So we can move forward in order to challenge war. Because we see what's going on in the Sahel state. Mm-hmm. But Abraham Traore is up there doing good and they want to take him out. Mm-hmm. So even if we do good, they say we're doing bad in the CBI. The CBI is corrupt. Right? Brothers up in the Sahel state is doing good. But they still want to take them out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying to you, the problem with the CBI right now is that the Europeans don't want to mash up our CBI because of the kind of money we're making. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying to you, and you're here fighting each other, how are we going to get our problems solved when all of them is against me and you? It don't make no sense. I'm saying to you, my brother, I in particular, I don't have a paralysis of analysis. This thing is real. You see how the United States attacked Iran the other day? You see what is going on in Gaza? You see what is going on in the Congo? Mm-hmm. You see, what I'm saying, my brother, our time, they ain't ready to focus on us yet, you know, because our time is coming. And what they're going to do, they're going to shut down the banking system because we don't have our own currency.
Kalonji, we're just about out of time, so 30 seconds.
Okay, my brother.
All right.
But what I'm saying to the Prime Minister, my brethren, we got to sit down and resolve our contradiction. That's what I'm calling for.
All right.
I'm not against nobody.
No problem.
You understand? So
yes. Thank you very much.
Before you come in, let's just take 2 more calls and wrap up.
I have a graduation.
Okay, we'll take 1 more call.
Okay.
We take 1 more call. The PM is extremely busy. A businessman asked me about that. We're lucky to get you here for a few minutes because of how busy you are.
Yeah.
So let's just take final call for issues for today. Caller, you're next. Your final call. Go ahead.
Yes, Juni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Carl Brown.
And good afternoon, Mr. Prime Minister. Carl Brown here.
Hey, good afternoon.
2 questions, sir. Mm-hmm. 1, what is going on down the Fort Thomas Hotel? Because we've seen it cleaned up and everything. We want to know if it's sold, if it's going to be leased, rented, because we see all kind of different people down there working and things are happening down there. And you know, the last Fort Thomas Hotel, or many of us, several months of salaries that we were promised over 14 years ago that would be paid to us, and up to now we can't get paid. Some of us who was the last workers there has dead and gone on and still has not got our settlement yet. So we are wondering if we are going to be settled now, because it seems like that there are going to be some form of hotel coming back down there again. Number two, sir, the situation with my eye, sir. You know, we have discussed this the fourth time now I'm discussing it with you.
Carl, we're out of time. Quickly, please. The PM has another appointment. And
discussion, June, let me talk to the man. I'm going now.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking you to do.
Right? I give you my number again. 668-4820. Mr. Prime Minister, we need to have a discussion. I lost my eye on my job at JNF Hospital. I left home with 2 eyes and left home 9:45 and end up 10:30 with 1 eye. And national insurance and everybody is running from settling the situation.
When that happened? When did that happen?
2018, the 18th of August, a Friday night.
Okay.
And the COVID comes shortly after that. Yes, so you know we were locked down for like almost 3 years. So you know I could not do anything with that.
No, you said 2018, COVID came in 2020. What did they say? Because if you lose your eye at 10:30, it was an emergency almost. So what did they say then? What did the Minister of Health said? What did they say?
The Minister of Health that time was Hamilton and Wendy. I could not get ever see them, set up meetings, appointment, nothing. Then we move on to Aquila, the same thing. Right?
Okay.
I have been trying to get this matter settled, and I said to my lawyer shortly, which I told you before, that we do not want to take the government and national insurance to court. So they even refused me to collect a claim form.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Carl. I'm happy that you were able to give you some time. Just because I have a graduation this afternoon, I want to get to, but I want to thank you for calling in. Junie, a couple of things. Ras Kolonji, he called in and made some solid points. Ras Kolonji and we have been reasoning for a very long time. Yeah. So I think Ras Kolonji will be very happy with the connection that we are seeking to do with Africa. He didn't comment on it, but I think he should be happy about it, and that we are visiting Addis Ababa in September for physical reunion of the African Union with the 6 region, which is the diaspora, including CARICOM and the Caribbean. He spoke about some of the international challenges, and I'm glad that I did not do it, but people like him were able to really frame some of the challenges that we are facing in the Caribbean and other parts of the world. These challenges go beyond just governments. There are policies that are adopted by other regions that have tremendous negative impact on us. The post-COVID situation, the climate change matter, climate change justice, because the climate change that's happening as wreaking havoc on us as a people. We did not create it, yet we are suffering and there's no justice. There's a lot of lip service from some people. Others are really trying, but we know that the resources are there to resolve a lot of our matters. And if there's international cooperation, we can really do well. And so he has definitely some points there. In our St. Kitts and Nevis, we, of course, have some differences, some political differences. Because I have a political difference does not mean that you will be my enemy. But it's good to have different political positions. Even if you have a home, Junie, and you are married or you have a partner in there, one opinion cannot be the standing opinion. You need to hear different sides of positions. However, we can be political opponents, but not political enemies. And that is why I said, because it's a battle of ideas, and the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party has tremendous ideas, but the international outlook is the international outlook. However, I would say, that is why I say that I will never call Sean the names that Timothy Harris, Dr. Harris called him. I will never do that. I will never seek to descend into that type of politics. He's right. There must be debate. There must be differences of opinion. We can be political opponents, but we should not be political enemies, or we should not be enemies. The other matter I want to discuss is that with respect to that is why we call everybody on the issue of the crime and violence, because we need to come together, to deal with that matter. So we have to still act as a unified people, and I continue to call for our people to be unified. We can have differences of opinion and we can agree to disagree, but we must never become enemies of each other, because our goal should be a better St. Kitts and Nevis. So I want to really thank Kolunji for his call and his call for looking at the greater picture even. Junie, I would like to now, with respect to the last question, with respect to the Fort Amos Hotel, the property is there, and it has been on the market for a very long time. There are people who are interested in it. No final decision has been made on the Fort Amos Hotel at this particular point. At that moment, I will. But we are pursuing opportunities for the Fort Amos Hotel. I'm sure when you see that beautiful piece of real estate, understanding at one point it was the center of our tourism industry, and you just see grass and bush, and how it looked. It really is a bad look for us as a country. And so it is cleaned up and so forth at this particular time. We'll pay attention to the relics. We want to pay attention so that if there are any artifacts there as well, so that we can seek to preserve our history. But I can say that we are seeking for more foreign direct investments as well. And we are seeking investments that are not CBI connected as well, so that we can have a stronger standing, a stronger footing. But as Brother Kolunji spoke, with our sustainable island state, we get energy just like any other country that gets energy. We will be in a much different position. We don't have to depend on oil coming in. We'll have enough water because we can do desalination if we have to. We'll have enough food because where there's energy and water, there's food. And if we have energy, water, and food, that's the basis of building a real sustainable island state, a truly liberated country. So, Junie, let me just wrap up by saying I thought that the discussion this afternoon was quite good. I want to thank all of the callers, even those who challenged, for their challenging statements, to give me the opportunity to really expound on certain things. I want to thank them for their position, so as we widen the debate as a democratic country. But the point that has come out, Julie, is that the inflation and the world situation has hardly anything to do with us. We are navigating. That is what we are doing. And we are navigating, I would say, tremendously well, even with the challenges that we have. And just to let the people of St. Kitts and Nevis know that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will continue to work tirelessly hard on your behalf. That is why we increase your wages. That is why we gave you pension. You are the biggest beneficiaries of all of our programs. And with that, I want to thank you for joining us and to say good afternoon to you. And may God continue to bless all of us here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you, Julie. Thanks, Rita.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Drew, for your time and your energy and your effort this afternoon. And we look forward to sharing with you and the people at a later date. We invite you to come back anytime.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Have a great afternoon.
And same to you, Julie.
All right. God bless. Well, that's all we have for issues for today. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow for Groundings. Same time, 1:30. Until then, Junie Live is saying cheers and God bless you all.
106.5 Freedom FM.
Hey there. Let's face it, life happens.
bills pile up, surprises pops up, and sometimes staying on top of payments feels impossible.
But don't stress, we've got you.